Good morning, my lovelies. So welcome back. So today we are talking about synastry again, and the aspect of the day is Mars square Neptune. Now, you know how I feel about Neptune aspects in synastry. They are the most challenging, and they are the most challenging because Neptune is not an energy that we can really make sense of in this 3D reality. It is very difficult to understand Neptune in the relationship. We can, though, of course, appreciate and love the positive end of the spectrum, right? The parts of Neptune that just like open and giving and just everything is possible. But we often like to overlook the other parts that make it difficult to function in a relationship. Neptune is the natural energy of the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of retreat. It's where we leave the physical world behind, right? That physical social world, and we retreat. And generally, retreating means we retreat as an individual into our own world. Now, that's difficult in a relationship because there are two of you that have to dance the tango or the waltz or the cha-cha or whatever you guys dance at any given moment. So what is happening when we have one person's Mars, one person's drive, one person's sexual desire, like force, come into contact with the other person's Piscean side, right? That part that is just flowing and just here, and let's like put the rose-colored glasses on and let's just allow life to be a buffet, that we can choose this and that at any given moment. And everything is always possible, always. There's no limit. There are no boundaries. There are no restrictions. So what happens when we have these two come together in a square? That is an aspect of challenge. That is an aspect of overcoming. What are we overcoming? Well, first of all, we got to overcome the differences here. The differences being one person's conscious drive, the other person's unconscious understanding of everything, the boundlessness. Let's start with the bright side. On the bright side, this is an aspect that will fulfill all our sexual desires, right? The bedroom is going to be next level, beautiful, because we can allow ourselves to just open. Little caveat here is specifically for the Neptune person, know your limits, which is going to be difficult because the Neptune part in this does no limits. So know your limits, what you allow and what you don't allow, because Mars can take over in this constellation in a way where we got to be careful that we are not overstepping the line in an ethical sense, but also in an emotional and physical sense. Now, when it comes to living life, when it comes to goals, this can be really frustrating. This can be a really frustrating pairing because Mars has clear goals. Mars wants to go from A to B to C. Neptune is just like, hey, let's just see. Let's just flow. Let's just, I don't know. I don't want to make plans. I don't know how to make plans. Why do you want to make plans? Let's just see what happens. And that's where the frustration comes in. And that's where the overcoming comes in. And that's where also the lessons come in with both people, right? Because the idea is to move closer to each other in any relationship, right? Move closer to each other, understand each other better. And generally, right, when you speak to someone, when they're over there, they don't hear you as clearly. They come closer, they hear you more clearly. So coming closer to each other, understanding the other's functioning, right, the way the other functions, and become aware of, can we live with that? Do we want to live with that? What can we learn here? Is this going to be possible to grow in this field or not? And with this pairing, again, this can be difficult because Mars, you know, wants to go somewhere. And Neptune is already there, because Neptune is everywhere already. So there is often a different view of the world, the way of living here, the way we want to live. And this can be obviously a cause of separation, because eventually we're just tired of fighting against the thing we don't want or for the thing we want, because it's just like there's like kind of like a nonsensical aspect here as well, because Neptune, everything is already here. What do you want? What do you mean? Like, and Mars is kind of like, no, I'm here now and I want to go there. I'm not there already, I'm here. How do I get there? And Neptune says, why are you asking about how? Just let it unfold. And that Mars drives, just Mars like, woo. And that drives Mars crazy. Mars can really explode a lot in this constellation. Mars is just, I think Mars is probably going to be the person that, if there is a separation, that is going to be initiated by the Mars person. Generally. Of course, there are exceptions, but because the Mars person is the more aware person when it comes to what they want and where they want to go. And they will realize, I cannot do this with this person. I cannot. Or like they are also more triggered, right? The triggering factor is just so much stronger here. So this is not an easy one. Again, like I said to you before many, many times, there is not one aspect that makes or breaks a relationship. Of course not. It never is. But this is certainly one that is on the side of like becoming conscious of anything Neptune. It's I'm not saying, I don't want to say it's not possible, but it's just, it takes a lot of awareness and integration within yourself. You know, becoming aware of your own Neptune energy in your own chart, and then applying that when you look at the other person. You know, accepting is a big word in this constellation as well. So the elusive factor of this pairing, the elusive nature that comes in, where Mars is like a soldier in the dark, just shooting like everywhere, not seeing the, you know, the actual target, because everything is so foggy. And if Mars is a very left brain kind of person that functions in that reality better, then Mars is going to have a really, really hard time here. If we have Mars in Pisces and then Neptune in, I don't know, Sagittarius, this can work easier because Mars is in Neptune land already. That Mars person that has Mars in Pisces is very familiar with their own Martian energy, and even though it's a Martian energy that is more tricky, on the tricky side, if that Mars person is channeling their Mars energy through creative channels, then meeting Neptune, that Mars person can actually dive a little deeper into these creative channels and get more out of their own creative potential. But again, nothing happens without awareness here. So it is still going to be a very explosive pairing. It might not be a big explosion like it would be when Mars is in Aries, but it's still, Mars is still Mars, even though Mars is in Pisces, right? Or Mars in let's say, Cancer, or Mars in Virgo. It's a Mars that is not as explosive, but it's still Mars, and it would still push. There's still the pushy factor. We'll never lose that. That's just the nature of Mars. The channel might be different that we use to push through, but it's again still Mars. So difficult aspect, but a lot of lessons, lots to learn here, and we have to really, this is an aspect where we have to be honest with ourselves in terms of what we can take and what is true for us, and where we just blindly where the blind is following the blind, because that is also a big option here with this aspect. So self-awareness is something we learn with every aspect, especially in Synastry, right? Becoming more aware of how we function and what we do, what we want, where we want to go, how we want to do things, and how we can align it with the partner, and where we can't align it, where, you know, we just are so different when it comes to our values, right? We need to, this is really an aspect where we got to go back to what are my values, and what are their values, and are they congruent? Are they, you know, they don't have to be the same values, but are they, you know, can they align with each other? And if that is a yes, then working on this can become easier because we have something to fall back on, right? But if our values are already a little wonky and not really aligned, then this is just going to be, you know what I mean. So if you have this aspect and you want to share your experience, feel free. If you have any questions about this aspect, also feel free to ask. If you want a personal reading, Synastry reading, composite, Davidson, the solar return, you can click on the link in the description box and we can set up a time for reading. If you want to work with me one-on-one on a coaching basis, we can do that too. So you can send me an email. Anything else, any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm here to help. And yeah, have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next video.